Welcome to my channel, friends. Today we will see how to configure Fortigate clustering protocol. So I have two Fortigate devices, both of them virtual machine, running on VMware ESXi. You can see here Fortigate 01, Fortigate 02. So I'm going to put both of them into cluster. All right, guys. This is the Fortigate 1, this is Fortigate 2. Both of them have similar interface configuration so that the failover is seamless. So you can see here I have 4 ports, out of which port 1 is having the IP 192.168.116.21, port 2 14.140.40.10, port 3 is used for the heartbeat HA interface, same as on Fortigate 2. Interface 1, 192.168.116.21, and then interface 2, 14, 140, 40.10, and port 3, port 4 is both the ports are used for HA interfaces for a Fortigate clustering protocol to function properly. All right, guys, so before proceeding, I'll show you what you have to do in your ESXi. Well, if you check here, I have multiple NICs connected to my ESXi server. So I am only using 0, 1, 2, 3. So I guess I'm using just 3. This is for the first port 1, this is for the port 2, and this is for both port 3 and port 4. So you can see here, I have created multiple virtual switches. Okay, so you can see here, this belongs to the NIC 0, data 0. This belongs to NIC 1, and this belongs to NIC 2. All right, let's see. So if you see here, I've created multiple port group. Okay, so this is for VM NIC 0. Okay, let's see what I have used in the configuration. You can see here in network setting. Okay, I have the data virtual group created. Data to 0, this is VM and NIC 0, this is NIC 1. Well, I have placed both the NICs, port 3, port 4 in the same virtual group so that they can communicate with each other. HA is the name. I'll show the configuration of HA as well. This is the port group, HA you can see here. So one thing you'll have to keep track of is the settings. So for the ports which are in HA group, the ports that are HA interfaces, you should have this setting: promiscuous mode, accept; MAC address changes, accept; forge transmits, accept. Unless and until you have this setting on your port groups, your HA interfaces will not be able to, communicate with each other, and the heartbeats will fail, which might lead to split brain in the HA. All right, so I've showed you the configuration for the Fortigate 0, Fortigate 1. You can see here, okay, both the HA interface, both the HA interfaces 3, 4 are in same port group, HA fab, and I have the settings to allow the promiscuous mode, MAC changes, and the forged MAC, something like that, which I showed you just now. So make sure you have that settings on both the FortiGate unit. You can see here I have the similar setup here. This belongs to VM NIC 1, and this belongs to VM NIC 0. All right, guys, so let's get started. Let's start the real fun here. So I have both the FortiGate unit running. I have the access of both the units. So what I'll do is I'll go to the settings, system, HA. I guess I already have them in cluster, so I'll remove them from the cluster. Okay, so I lost the access, which is usual. Let's see, do we have access of this FortiGate unit? Yes. So let's remove them from the cluster. Okay, so I have lost the access. FortiGate 1. So FortiGate 1 is having the IP address 192.168.116.18. Let's check out FortiGate 2. So FortiGate 2 is having the IP address 192.168.116.20. So first port is the in interface, second port is the out interface, third port is used for the HA1, fourth port is the HA2. All right, guys, so let's try to take the access of the device. Okay, guys, I'm into the box now. It is not in cluster right now. So FortiGate 01, go to the settings. By the way, whatever device you're operating on and the device which will become the master and the interfaces associated with the master device, the IP addresses on the master device which will become the master will be the floating IP, and the IP address that you see on this device which will become standby in my case because I'm going to set the priority low for this device, and these IPs will vanish, will no longer be configured on this device. Well, the reason why you see the IP address to be same is because I just configured these two devices in cluster. So that's the reason why you see them having common IPs. apart from these interfaces which were in DHCP. Alright guys, let's start. So FortiGate 2 is having 20, FortiGate 1 is having 18. This is supposed to be, okay, I'll show you. Let me change this. Okay, now this is 11, this is 10. So when these two devices are in cluster, the IP address on the master device will be the floating IP, and the IP address on the standby will vanish. To prove that, let me put the device into the cluster. Go to setting, HA, put them in active passive, set the priority by default 128, let it be 128, put the password here, session pickup. So, well, this session pickup means uh, whatever sessions you have on the master device, you will synchronize these data onto the standby device so that when it becomes the master, it should be able to process the traffic and you should have less interruption on the traffic flow. So that's the reason why you can have this set all the time so that there is no interruption in the flowing traffic. And since I don't want to monitor anything, here I'll not put any interface, but in your case, you can set the monitoring interface. Let us check how many interfaces it will accept. So it is going to monitor the interfaces that you will put inside the monitor interfaces. So in my case, I don't want to monitor any interface. Okay, in HA interfaces, well, you can see the last two interfaces. I have put it in heartbeat interfaces list, and the priority is set to 277.277. Well, the reason why you have this priority is simply because out of the two interfaces that you see in the HA group, port 3 and port 4, I have to choose the interface which will be used for transmitting the heartbeat, which will be the primary link. If this link fails, I will fall back to the next port with the priority better in the group. Okay, so the priority decide which interfaces I should be using for the HA heartbeat communication and all the control messages. That's it, guys. I guess I'm done. Let's replicate the same thing on the other device, which is going to be a slave, because I know that I'm going to set the priority lower than the master, which is FortiGate 01. You can see here I have put the priority as 100 instead of 128. So this device will always be the standby device. This is the same as the master device. Make sure you have the same username password. Session pickup on. Okay, port 3, port 4. And the priority. Well, this configuration is local to the box, I believe. And this should match on both the ends, I guess, because one device will select port 3 as the primary HA interface. Other device, if by any means it selects port 2 as the primary interface for communicating the heartbeat, well, it is going to create the chaos. So you should have the priority same. Well, if you want to exempt any of the interface, well, all the configuration on this device 1 will synchronize to device 2. So both of them will more or less will act as a single unit. So there are certain exemptions which you are supposed to do in case of the device management. Well, if you want to manage the device individually, you'll have to exempt that interface from the configuration synchronization, because the IP that you are using to access this device is going to be the IP address that you're using right now will become the floating IP, and the IP address that you have on the slave will vanish. So you have to define the management interface for both the unit, so that you always have the connectivity to both the units, isolation in all the scenarios from your client machine. So here I want to demonstrate. So I'm not going to put any management interface reservation here. Okay, I'm going to put OK. I'm going to put OK. I'm going to save the configuration. So now I have lost the access of the device because I was using this interface and this interface IP for the access of the device. Well, the interface port 1 was using DHCP. So the port 1 IP, like I said, will be floating between these two devices, but then it is in DHCP, so it is going to renew the IP address. It is going to, ask the server, the DHCP server, to give him another IP, because now the interface IPs are no more valid in DHCP configuration. So you have to make sure if you have DHCP configuration, well, if you put the device in HA, it is going to, request for a new IP for the unit. So like I already have the console access. So let's see what is FortiGate Unit 1 looks like. So you can see here, so there's a new IP that is assigned to the unit 21, and I'll show you for FortiGate Unit 2 as well. Earlier it was 20, so now it should be 21 since the device is in HA, so it is going to synchronize the interface IP. You can see here both the devices having same IP on both the interface. Like I said, the other devices are having 192.168.11. Slave configuration is not in single master sequence 1. Let's see. So now the device is in sync with the master. So you should lose all the IPs that is there on. Okay, so this IP, well, you'll not be able to use .11 because now the new floating IP is 10. So you can see here, now the IP address changed from .11 to .10 on both device. So the IP address that you configured on the standby device is no more there. It is all nullified by the HA config. And truly speaking, now at this point of time, the only way to access the device is with the help of this IP, which will log you into the master device, which is currently master. So let's check the status of the HA. You can see here. Okay, let me take a party session. So you can see here. So when I use the IP, the floating IP, it is logging me into the device which is currently master, which is FG01. So you check. So this is the device which is master. So other device with the index 1 is the backup. Okay. So now the question is how you will manage these two devices individually. And the answer is very simple. Like I told you in the beginning itself, if you want to have the separate access to both the devices, you should put the interface which is going to be your management interface so that those interface will not be synced between these two devices if they are in HA. But there is other way as well. So each interfaces you can configure a management IP which will be used for logging into the device individually. Go to the system hierarchy. Okay, now in port 1, put the management IP. By the way, this was a DHCP configuration before we started, but then the management IP you'll have to put it statically on each interface if you want to access the device individually. Well, I guess it was 18. So you can see here I don't have any access. I lost the access. So as soon as I put this, I should be having the access. You can see here I regained the access of the master device because I changed the interface management IP on port 0. Well, if you see, you will still see 21, which is a floating IP between these two interface. But if you go have a closer look, you will see that the management IP is 18. Well, this is how you individually access the box using the management IP on any port that you desire to use for management access. If you have not specified the interface under the management tab while configuring the HA. So now the question is how you will access the standby. You already have lost the access of the standby device, the slave. So now there's a command. So you can log into the slave device using the master device which you already have the access. So now what you can do is, so you can see the index number of slave as 1. So put that here and then put the username. It is taking you to the slave device, which is FG02. You can see here. And to confirm that, I can show you this as well. So right now we are in FortiGate 2 unit. So I'm going to first configure the IP address, the management IP on port 1, so that I can have the individual device access for both FortiGate 1, FortiGate 2. Let's confirm. Okay, right now I don't have any access of the device. Okay, I've lost the access. So I'm going to put the same IP. 21, I guess. Okay, 20. Now I should have the access of the device. Now I can come out of this. As you can see, I regained the access of the device too. You can see here, FortiGate 02. See, the floating IP is via FGCP, but then if you want to configure the management IP, well, I guess there is no way via the GUI. I don't see that option here. Well, it seems the only way is through the CLI, and the configuration and the command is this. Okay, now so we have the cluster running here. Let's check the status of the cluster, what information we have. So you can see here the uptime, the changes last made, and the interfaces, which is port 3 and port 4. The primary is port 3, master 01, slave 02. So this is the configuration on this device. Well, the master is having 128 as priority, and the slave is having 100 as priority. I guess if you want to do the manual failover, then you will have to set the priority as 90 for this unit. Okay, seems like the failover happened. Let's try to re-log in. You can see here, I lost the access. Now let's see. Did our manual failover command did the trick or not? Okay, you can see here the FortiGate 02 is master now. Let us confirm the status. You can see here the master is FG02 and the slave is FG01. So this is how you can do the manual failover. And like I said, if you want to log in into the other box, well, you will have to use the index number and then the username. That's it. Okay, guys. So the index says the master is FG02 is 0. And right now I've logged into 0, but out of some reason it is not taking this index, which means what if I tried this? Okay, that's strange. So here it shows the index as 0, but then it is not accepting this. So the slave index is 1, master index is 0. That was the reason. Okay, index is 1, but then why is it not taking this? Maybe because the first configuration was FG01 was 0, FG02 was 1. Strange. FG01 is slave and the index is 0. FG02 is master with index 1. But why is it showing different here? Okay, FG03 is 1. That's correct. So that was the issue. I was trying to log in, re-logging into the FG02, which I was already logged into. Let us do the failover again. Okay, the failover is done. You can check it in the HA status as well, which is master, which is slave. You can see here, FG02 is slave, 01 is master, 01 is master, 02 is slave, priority 128, priority 100. Well, that's all for today, guys. I hoped I hope that you really enjoyed this video, you learned something out of the video, and please do subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and please do share the video if you really enjoyed it. And if you have any issues, any doubt, anything that you want to ask me, well, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And once again, please do subscribe to my channel, support me, and thank you guys. Have a good day. Bye bye.